Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into an ancient ritual that's designed to tackle one of life's biggest and most universal challenges suffering. It's all about a practice for untangling those tricky knots from our past to clear the way for a much more peaceful future.
And to get us started, let's begin with this invocation. It translates to salutations to the great flame of grace. It really sets the perfect contemplative tone as we get into this spiritual practice, which is known as Moksha Deepa Gnanam.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the universal problem of suffering itself. Then, we'll introduce the Moksha Deepa ritual as a potential solution. After that, we'll walk through exactly how to do it step by step. We'll even cover how you can use this to help other people. And finally, we'll look at what it really means to live a liberated life. So you might be wondering, why would someone even seek out a practice like this? Well, the source material is pretty clear. This isn't for some, super advanced spiritual guru. It's a response to something we all feel, that deep human desire to just be free from pain. And we're talking about the big stuff, right? Struggles with a partner, anguish caused by children, the crushing weight of debt. The source doesn't frame these as your personal failings, but as these common karmic burdens that so many of us carry around. It's a heavy load. So, what's the way out? All right, so the solution that's offered up is something called the Moksha Deepa ritual. And listen, this isn't just about wishing your problems away. It's presented as a really focused, hands-on action, something you can actually do to confront these struggles head-on. At its heart, it's a practice designed to liberate the soul. And the goal here isn't just a quick fix, It's about fundamentally changing how you experience your life so you can move forward as a clear-minded, peaceful person without all that baggage from the past weighing you down.
And this is what I find so interesting. This is where it all gets really practical. We're not just talking about abstract philosophy here. This is a hands-on process with really clear, simple steps. So let's get right into it and walk through exactly how you do it. Okay, first things first, what do you need? Well, here are the materials. And as you can see, it's all pretty simple stuff, but don't let that fool you. Every single one of these items has a symbolic meaning and plays a key part in focusing your intention. It's all about using accessible things for a really profound purpose. All right, step one is all about preparing the wick. This is a really crucial part of the process. You take the sesame seeds, which represent all those karmic imprints, and you roll them right into the cloth. As you're doing this, you're literally physically creating a representation of the soul that you want to set free. So now that you've done the physical part, the ritual shifts to your spiritual intention. It all leads up to the offering at the temple. You light the lamp, and that flame becomes your focal point. It's what you meditate on as you hold the intention of that soul being released from all its burdens. But here's where it gets even more powerful. This practice isn't just about you. The source explains that you can actually perform this for other people too, whether they're living or have passed on. And when you do that, it becomes this incredibly profound act of spiritual reconciliation. So when you do this for someone else, the whole thing is built on these 4 pillars. It's a really deep spiritual workout, You have to ask for forgiveness, offer forgiveness, express genuine gratitude, and finally just let go. You're releasing all those entanglements that can tie 2 souls together. Okay, so a ritual this deep is obviously going to bring up a lot of questions, right? Well, the source material totally gets that, and it actually tackles some of the most common ones head on, which is great, because it gives a lot of clarity. And this first one, this is probably the biggest question on everyone's mind. When you hear liberating the soul, it can sound a little, final. So let's just see what the text has to say. And the answer is a clear no. The death they're talking about isn't physical. It's the death of your ego, of illusion, of those karmic bonds. The whole point is that your suffering ends, not your life. It's about shedding all that junk so you can live a more peaceful life right here, right now. Okay, next question. What about your enemies? Can you actually do this for someone you have a really difficult or even hostile relationship with? The answer is absolutely. And in fact, it's considered a really noble thing to do. But, and this is a big but, your intention has to be 100% pure love and compassion. If you go into it with any kind of negativity or wish for revenge, the source is really clear. That energy just bounces right back at you. All right, what about the order of operations? Do you have to do this for yourself before you can do it for other people?
And on this point, the text is crystal clear. Yes, you absolutely have to perform the Moksha Deepa for your own soul at least once. It's kind of like that old saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. You've got to clear out your own stuff first before you can really effectively help someone else with theirs.
So this ritual isn't meant to be just a one-and-done thing. It's really presented as a catalyst, a starting point for a whole new way of living. So let's dive into the philosophy of how you actually take this feeling of liberation and make it part of your everyday reality. This brings us to a really fascinating idea called the psychology of the void. Here's how it works. By focusing on something huge like soul liberation instead of your day-to-day problems, you create this emptiness, this void in your mind. And according to the text, that mental void connects to the cosmic void, and nature just rushes in to fill it with the solutions you've been looking for. Pretty cool, huh?
So, how do you stay in that liberated state? Well, here are the key principles for daily practice. It's really about shifting your focus away from the constant ups and downs, the pleasure and the pain, and just cultivating this steady, trusting way of being. It's how you turn a one-time ritual into a lasting way of life. And the source wraps things up, not with some gentle suggestion, but with this really powerful declaration. It basically says, hey, freedom from all this stuff isn't just a nice idea, it's your right and it's your duty. It's urging you not to wait around for someone else's permission, but to grab this opportunity for your own freedom. So that really leaves us with a final thought. This whole path to freedom, it's presented as a choice, an internal decision, and a personal act. The power and the responsibility, it's all in your hands. Which leads to the question, if you could release just one burden from your soul, what would you choose?